The Apple Watch is in real need of a facelift of some kind. No, I'm not talking about making it round or circular. I think that the Apple Watch has made itself iconic enough, and the square display is a better way of handling a smartwatch because it can still support round watch faces with complications. But either way, I'm happy to hear Quo talking about new form factor changes potentially launching next year, because after using the Apple Watch Series 6 for a few months now, I can confidently say it's time. Let's begin. So yeah, in a way, consider this video my little 2-month later thoughts on the Apple Watch Series 6, because frankly, the blood oxygen level sensor is an incredibly minor addition, at least to me. There's some people out there that may benefit from it a bit more, but you really just use it when you first set up the watch and you're like, cool, I can monitor my blood oxygen levels, and then you almost never check it again. Unless, of course, you have some type of disorder where you need to be checking your blood oxygen regularly, but in that case, I don't know if I would completely rely on the Apple Watch. There are times it can be accurate, yes, but I'm sure most medical professionals and even Apple would admit it's not supposed to replace any medical grade equipment. So if you're the type of person that has access to that medical grade equipment, that's probably going to be better off than the Apple Watch is. And outside of that, the differences of the charging speed or the S6 chip, very difficult and hard to notice. And even the always on display being 2 times brighter doesn't make a huge day-to-day difference. It's been very, very incremental since the Series 4, and honestly, in my using of it for the past couple months, it has solidified that this is the smallest Apple Watch upgrade I think I've ever seen. I think even the Series 5 with its always on display was kind of a bigger deal to some people who hadn't bought Apple Watches before, but now they've reused the same design since 2018. We're going into 2021, rocking that same design language with very little changes other than just some new color options, some slightly higher storage, or some slightly brighter display. Overall, if Apple expects anyone to be interested in the Series 7 next year, I think it needs a facelift of some kind, and it may have something to do with the new iPhone 12 design aesthetic. Across the entire lineup, you can start to see Apple adopting this squared off look. It started with the iPad Pro. If you really want to get technical, maybe it started off with the iPhone 4, but once the iPad Pros went squared off, people really wanted the iPhones too, so now Apple has done that with the 12 lineup, and now the iPhones don't as symmetrically match up with the Apple Watch anymore, because the Apple Watch is still rocking that curved off chassis aesthetic that matched with the older iPhones for so long. So I know it sounds weird, but it might start making more sense to see how we can make the Apple Watch look a bit more like the new iPhones, so we at least have a bit more design symmetry, and more importantly, the Apple Watch can actually look a tad more different than the way it's looked for the past few years. And I'm sure every time you redesign a product like this, you take the risk of some people not liking it, and some people do, but the benefit, I think, of going with more of a squared off edge design with the Apple Watch is that the Apple Watch isn't something you hold, it's something you wear. So many of the complaints with the squared off design that I've even expressed myself in the reviews come from the squared off design being a bit more uncomfortable in the hand. It's a bit sharper, so it doesn't rest in your fingers as easily. But with the Apple Watch, you wouldn't have that problem. So if the Apple Watch started modeling a design more similar to that of the iPhones, some of you may hate that look, and that's kind of the risk Apple takes with redesigns. But my point is, if the Series 7 comes out and it literally looks exactly like the Series 6, just with blood pressure monitoring, then I guess Apple's gonna just not see that much sales for the flagship watch and just see a surge in sales for the Apple Watch SE, which honestly, I'm still really grateful that exists, because in my opinion, the Apple Watch SE fits the needs of 99% of people, and if you're interested in getting a watch, that's probably by far the one I would recommend the most, and the features that the Series 5 or Series 6 have to offer do not warrant the extra money in my opinion. But who knows, maybe the Apple Watch is going to turn into something Apple doesn't need to update every year. I know that there's some of you out there that are just in love with this design and shape, and you don't want to see it changed. And in that case, how much better can Apple really make the watch? I mean, they won this market. They put every watchmaker in their place saying, nope, we're going to be the most popular watch in the world, and we're going to outsell everybody. We're going to set the standard for what people think a watch should be capable of. And they've basically put all of the competition to shame. There's very little Apple Watch competition now, whether it be a smartwatch or a regular watch. The Apple Watch is dominating, so maybe Apple doesn't have to go above and beyond every year, but I don't think so. I think Apple should push themselves further, take a risk, and say, let's give the Apple Watch a new design aesthetic, and maybe some people don't like it, maybe some people do. Either way, we'll get something new and something a bit more unique. I would appreciate thinner bezels, or hopefully the adoption of micro LED technology. We've been asking for it for years, and it's easy to say, well, maybe by next year they can have that figured out, but then next year comes around and we're like, oh my god, the pandemic pandemic's not over, but hey, they're still shipping Apple Watches with the same design they've been using for years, and that's the more intrusive thing. Hopefully there's some type of 3-year design cycle going on here if we consider Apple Watch Series 0 to 3. Those pretty much all had the same design, and then Series 4 to 6, those all had the same design. So we're due, right? You know, it's time for an updated facelift, maybe with a more flat front and a rounded back, thinner bezels overall. That means we can get a larger display and keep using our old watch bands. No, I'm not in favor of Apple changing the watch band attachments. I want them to keep that as long as humanly possible. I mean, it's already portless, so they can't remove the port, and the camera would be dumb because every angle the Apple Watch looks at you from would look hideous and ugly, and it would nuke your battery life if you ever tried to do anything with the camera on the Apple Watch. So all they really got going for them is just like, I guess, better battery life and a few more health features. So that's why I think it's time. I think the Apple Watch team needs to work on a way to give it a fresh, more modern look, and I think matching the design symmetry between the iPad, the iPhone, and perhaps the new iMacs, when those get refreshed, they'll have more of a squared off design, and that way the Apple Watch can feel more simplistic and modern like the rest of the lineup does, and not be using this 2.5D glass when everything else has moved on to 2D glass. It's evolving just backwards. Either way, let me know what you guys think of the Apple Watch. Should Apple just not update it every year and just maybe come out with some new colors? Or should they actually do something interesting with it and try to bring a new design scheme to it? All that good stuff, let me know. And also, are you guys picking up anything on Black Friday? Or do all these deals kind of suck and you're skipping out on it like me? Feel free to let me know. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.